Good, beautiful morning, everybody. Welcome to the Friday edition of Shortcuts for Your Soul. We have a very interesting show today that I think you're going to find somewhat informing. And I was told to entitle today's show The War for Consciousness, as this is what the Ascended have told me is actually going on. Well, ascension is the underlying goal of the enlightened or humanity, that is, the ascended masters, higher vibrational, multidimensional beings. The goal is to elevate humanity up. But the mechanisms employed in conflict with each other on this dimension we call Earth, or this physical spatial dimension, is a war for consciousness, control of your mind, your body, your emotions, and your resources. That's what they've told me is going on right now. They have several approaches, and we're going to get into some of them in just a minute. So stick around. You're not going to want to miss a single piece of this. So there are two groups primarily at opposed to humanity and those in support of the evolution of humanity that are in physical form right now. Angels, you could say, that have taken physical forms. One group are very, very wealthy and are oligarchs, very, very wealthy, powerful individuals that want to enslave you, control you, manipulate you, terrify you, keep you diseased, impoverished, and unhealthy. And the other group of oligarchs, likewise, want to lift you up, likewise, in terms of their oligarchs, but they want to lift you up, empower you with knowledge, provide you with ways and means where you can discover and unlock your own potential excellence and create a beautiful and wonderful life for yourself. So there's these two factions in the physical dimension. One group is guided by the divine light of God. The other group is guided by the dark light or the lower vibrational frequencies of what you call Satan or evil. And they're at war all over this dimension, particularly experienced by us as human beings on the planet Earth. Wars and conflict that you see raging around the planet, particularly in places that have basic human freedoms as the cornerstone of their political system, is where the war is being fought the hardest. There are places in the world that were being overrun by these dark ones, the lower vibrational satanic forces driven by oligarch power. And many of those places were being terribly overrun. They're now beginning to have insurrections and beginning to kick back against the dark forces, particularly in Europe and South America. And now you're seeing also in China. Now, this has never been a political channel, but this was what I was awakened at 4:30 in the morning and given to share with you. So if I think about it too much, I don't want to interfere with the information. I want you to have the information so that you can begin to empower yourself to not be influenced by the mechanisms of manipulation, power, and control that are being deployed against humanity on a grand scale, both to the benefit of humanity, but primarily to the detriment of humanity. Now, these forces that have been deployed against you have not just appeared out of nowhere. They've been on this planet, particularly concentrating on Earth about 2,000 years ago during the rise of the teachings of the one you call Jesus, that you refer to quite often as Jesus Christ. Jesus Christ brought forward a level of knowledge and wisdom to humanity that taught people how to clean their bodies, heal their minds, protect against evil, and live a good life. He taught those four primary pillars of how to live correctly. when these existing powers, not with the same level of financial swing or technological influence that they have today, but had nonetheless enough political influence to have him annihilated from this planet and subsequently go on a 300-year rampage to eliminate virtually everybody and anyone that he had trained or taught in the practices of how to utilize their consciousness to heal, to be good, to be righteous, to be just. The ruling dark authorities basically eliminated what you would call goodness from the world to the best of their ability, but not completely, as much of it had migrated to the furthest corners of modern society then to grow and evolve slowly so that it could reemerge when the second attempt that you're now experiencing over the last 150 years has been initiated against humanity. Now, this is just some moderate background. I'm not a historian. I'm not a forensic historian, but I'm a channel, a medium that receives information and transmits it directly to those people who are open, willing, and ready to receive it. That's it. Simple, not complex. I don't deal with middlemen. I deal with information directly from specific sources in consciousness that I'm able to receive as a result of my consciousness, as there has to be some degree of resonance from the transmitting point of information to the receiving point of information. Now, this rise in the last 150 years with the formation of what you call the United States of America, there were a series of political positionings, political structures put in place to politically, that is, with government, to establish government as a mechanism that was to be a representation of supporting the rights of the people by the will of the people and not the will of the government by the enslavement of the people, became known as what you know as, many of you know as the American Constitution and particularly the American Bill of Rights. And that republic style of government that the US government operates from has been the great bastion of sustaining and holding on to the general moral characters taught originally by Jesus back in his day, where he felt that the representation of people had to be their will through government, not government will through people. Now, that being established, if you can understand and if you've taken time to read the American Constitution, which I have not in great detail, but have read sufficient enough to know that it is in support of the fundamental rights of humans. Additionally, I would encourage you to read the Bill of Rights, which clearly demarcates what the fundamental God-given rights of every human living individual are designed to be, and which rights are designed to be protected and preserved at all cost by any political representation put in power by the people. This being said, I want to say that the war right now is for your consciousness, for your mind, either the submission of your mind or the support of your mind, the submission of your emotions or the support of your emotions. These two factions either want to liberate you or they want to enslave you. And I'm going with the group that wants to liberate via the sustaining and supporting of the rights and freedoms that are fundamental to each and every one of us. Now, these dark oligarchs that are controlling and manipulating billions of people, and the lives of billions of people are literally held in the balance, use several prongs to attempt to control and manipulate you. The first mechanism of their attack is through biology, to attack your biology, to degrade it, something I've been undergoing very rigorously for the last 16 days, and which I'm currently deploying countermeasures to resist that attack. But biologically is the first level they seek to attack humanity on in order to enslave you to their will. If they cannot enslave you, they will kill you. It is that simple. Okay? Secondarily, in addition to the biological attacks that they are initiating on humanity right now, secondarily, there are emotional attacks. These are your emotions are a bandwidth of frequencies. The vibrational emotion of fear is very specific, and the ranges of that vibrational frequency are also very specific, much the same way as radio waves on different stations. Every station is a different frequency of a radio wave, and every emotion that you have is a different frequency. Fear has a range of frequency, and love has a range of frequency. Now, my voice and my body are being aided by my guides and angels so that I can communicate this message to you in spite of the attempted impairments that have been put towards me in the last 14 days. So please bear with me as I push through this with you and their assistance. So on the emotional level, they use ranges of frequency to compartmentalize weak-minded people into the lower ranges of emotion, or what you call fear. So they have been using, for the last 100 years at least, mass media telecommunications to initiate and install vibrational frequencies of fear in your mind. Fear, guilt, shame, anger, judgment, mistrust, in order that you would fear somebody for some reason that they will define for you in a newspaper clip or a storyline, like you can't trust your neighbors. Now they're bringing out the new version of Game of Thrones, where they will install and instill more fear, more anger, more rage, more guilt, shame. So we have so far two tiers on which these dark oligarchs are currently trying to control humanity. The first tier is biological. The second tier is emotional. The third tier is mental, where the function of information, which is designed to manipulate the frequencies of emotions. I would add, too, that the frequencies of emotions can be manipulated through cellular technology. Cellular technology can be used to manipulate frequencies of emotion, but I do not have the material in front of me. I have not been asked to deviate far from what they're asking me to tell you today. So we have biological, emotional, and psychological, where information is deployed to get you to think and believe ideas that will regress you to the first two. Because when you go into lower vibrational emotions, you will also go into lower vibrational biological energy. And if you're in lower vibrational biological energy, your emotions can tend to be compromised with irritation and frustration because your body is not properly sustained by the conditions that it's exposed to. So the goal is to get you limited emotionally, psychologically, and biologically, in which case they can manage you quite easily. The existing operations that you see around the world to begin to start wars, but also to end wars, because we haven't gotten into the good side. What are the good oligarchs doing for you? We're just talking right now about the dark side, because you need to know that this is going on so you can recognize if it's happening to you, because there are countermeasures for each of these levels that you can engage. So on the psychological level, they use information, which any thought you have in your mind will in fact stimulate emotional ranges of frequency in your body and mind system. If you think about a beautiful, warm, sunny day at the beach where you hear children playing, people swimming, surfers surfing, birds flying overhead, and it's a wonderful and beautiful day, that information pictures a very particular scene in your mind, which in turn stimulates very precise emotional frequencies that will elevate your energy up. There are other frequencies, other pictures that could be painted that would lower your frequency down. If you are weak-minded, you will simply go along with information without evaluating it. So please evaluate what you're hearing and do your own research, because this, if you're here now, it's because you can reason and you can think and you can evaluate what you are seeing and not just be caught up in either the biological manipulation, the emotional manipulation, or the psychological manipulations that these satanic oligarchs are applying against humanity today. Pardon me for a moment. So we have covered with these satanic oligarchs that are manipulating humanity today several levels: biological attack, emotional attack, psychological attack. And the fourth and final level of attack, and remember, they can do this without you knowing it. And you can end up feeling things without even knowing why you're feeling them because they know how to utilize the existing systems of technology to project energy at people. And people that are susceptible to lower vibrational emotions will get caught up in it. It's like if you're swimming on a beach and a riptide pulls three people out, but of those three people, two of them know that if they swim across the tide, they can get out of the riptide, but the one doesn't know that and gets caught up in the current. These emotional deployments of energy are being utilized worldwide right now, at least in areas where technological dominance is prevalent in large urban centers around the world. Thank you, guys. For those of you who've been watching my channel for many years, you've never heard this type of a message before, and neither have I. I'm very excited about it, but I'm also very concerned for us, all of us, the good and the not so good, the people that are manipulated and the people that aren't manipulated. Those that are being manipulated don't know they are and believe that what they're doing is true and just, and those who can't be manipulated know that those who are being manipulated are in error. Don't blame them. They're literally being manipulated electromagnetically and psychologically and biologically. So please forgive them. They do not know these riots and things that are fighting for dissent in law. They don't know they're being manipulated. They've been conditioned to believe by the existing mechanisms that they're deploying that what they're doing is righteous, and it's not. It's violent, it's aggressive, and it's founded in evil, and they don't even know or question the real source and nature of their actions. Okay, thank you. So after the psychological element comes the spiritual element, where they utilize mechanisms of spirituality, principles of divinity, ideas like love one another. They use spiritual warfare, where they take existing religious principles and repackage them as what is the word trying to give? They give me a word that tries to represent all of them, and I don't have that translation capability. Yes, so religious fanaticism. They use yes. Only one at a time, please. Okay, so the function of religious fanaticism has been created over time as religions were infiltrated by these dark oligarchs and their agents. Religions were infiltrated and seeded with fragmenting factions. So you had Christianity that was fragmented down. You also have the Muslim faith, the faith in the Prophet Muhammad, broken down into factions. And same with virtually every other religion that has been fragmented. And these fragments are aspects, satellites of spiritual manipulation that infiltrate the very foundational teachings of those religions that were designed to elevate, uplift, inspire, and guide humanity down a path of love, grace, and transcendence to ascension, where we could literally take our angelic form in life and operate as angelic beings in this physical dimension, treating this planet from a perspective as how love, grace, and goodness would actually treat this world and all of its people. These dark oligarchs, for thousands of years, have been using conquest and violence as the means for controlling and removing any obstacles that could stand in their way, including wiping out many indigenous populations around the world, which functioned in an ultimate harmony with nature itself, which was a bad example to set for everybody else. Because if everybody knew how to love and honor the world, then how could you sow hate? You couldn't. So they removed any and all factions that were capable of demonstrating an unequivocal love towards nature and this world. Satanic forces love suffering. Remember that. They love to see suffering. They don't love to see happiness and goodness and connection and fulfillment. They want to see you suffer. So spiritual warfare. And those are the 4 or 5 primary tiers that they use to control and manipulate you. And it's very important that you be mindful to these things. Now, we've examined the dark-sided oligarchs, or what I call the satanic forces. Let us examine some of the light forces. And again, I will try to do the same sequentially with them as I did with the others, so that it seems coherent and cohesive based on the information that I'm receiving in this moment. So on each of the corresponding levels, these what we call the oligarchs of light, or the angelic forces that have taken form and have balanced themselves against the satanic forces that have rooted themselves into this planet. Likewise, there are corresponding but opposite mechanics for liberating, empowering, and freeing humanity. On the physical dimension, you'll find that these oligarch forces will promote vibrational healing. That is, the recognition that vibrational healing can restore and transmute disease almost instantaneously. They will also promote natural mechanisms of health, naturopathy, herbology, the study of things that allow you to improve your health organically and naturally, as this dandelion root tea does for my body as I countermeasure these dark forces dealing with me right now. Thank you. So on a biological level, they find and execute ways the upcoming technology of what you've heard rumored med beds are actually devices that work on frequency exclusively, as everything in creation, both good and evil, are functions of frequency. So these oligarchs are seeking to roll out these medical technologies that will heal vibrationally, not through jabbing and stabbing and poking and cutting and burning and removing, which is the mechanisms of darkness, where they debilitate, diminish, and decapitate the vital functions of your body from supporting and sustaining your ability to exist in this physical dimension. So these angelic oligarchs work at supporting your biological existence. They provide and are rolling out technologies that will do that. They will disseminate through every channel that you're able to receive. If you cannot receive or comprehend vibrational healing, then you will find a push for holistic healing, or you will find a push for using herbs and natural foods and natural medicines. So there's that tier on the oligarch level, where they focus on supporting and sustaining the very physical organism that every human soul requires in order to live in a physical dimension. If you don't have a body, you can't live in a physical dimension. You can bridge into it and weave in and out of it, but you can't live in the dimension unless you have a physical body. Secondarily, on an emotional level, the same thing is true, utilizing emotional frequencies on the same platforms. Remember, the dark and the light are toe to toe right now, using almost the exact same mechanism, but from different perspectives, each achieving very diametrically opposite results. One to the detriment of humanity, one to the benefit of humanity, one for the short-term gain of the oligarchs, one for the long-term gain of humanity. So on the biological level, they'll promote natural, healthy, vibrationally ways of restoring your health. On the emotional level, again, they use frequencies. They will deploy mechanisms of intelligence, information, and knowledge. Music, that's another one I did not cover, but that's being covered in this one. But pay attention to music, because the dark oligarchs, the satanic oligarchs, have been using music as a means of emotionally manipulating people. And now, of course, the oligarchs of light, or what I call the angelic oligarchs, are using music to promote like such devices as Suno, where you can create high vibrational music to elevate your emotional frequencies up. And it's important. So they'll focus on helping you to raise emotional frequency, thinking about being patient, meditation, uh, uh, thinking positively. These are all functions that will raise emotional energy from the spectrum of fear towards the spectrum of love. And that would be the difference. If you're looking at what is the manipulation, are you being manipulated towards love, or are you being manipulated towards fear? Pay attention, because all music, in fact, any vibration, any word you hear, any show you watch, any news article you read, any television show, anything that comes into your senses is either going to move you towards the spectrum of fear or towards the spectrum of love. And so on that level of emotion, the oligarchs of light are moving you towards love and the freedom of will, which brings us to the psychological level. On the psychological level, the one element that these angelic oligarchs are using is reason. Reason is the capacity to evaluate and organize information logically, sequentially, and organically, functioning on the basis of evidentiary truth, which means you get an idea, but you evaluate the idea, its nature, its source, its cause and effects before embracing it, accepting it, or espousing it. So reason is on the psychological level, and it's the highest function that will assist you in overcoming the second level that the satanic oligarchs are trying to control with its emotion. And you'll see a large number of people cannot reason through when faced with actual reason. What is your proof that this is true? You can tell when someone's being manipulated by satanic oligarch because they do not have a reasonable way of articulating the truth they claim to be supporting. And that's a hallmark of reason driven by light, because it has an understanding of truth, it has evidence of that truth, and can therefore support it. So remember that function of reason. If your reason is functioning correctly and in truth, you will always be able to support the truth of your reason because you have studied it, you have evidence, and you can reason it through. Those that do not have reason will attack emotionally because emotion is not founded in reason, it's founded in fear exclusively. So reason becomes the primary weapon psychologically for mastering or dealing with. Okay, they want me to correct the word weapon. Reason becomes the primary tool for addressing the lower vibrational psychological operations working through individuals that have been compromised emotionally and psychologically. Reason is the tool that will disarm them from their entrenchment in that emotional thing. When they cannot reason against you, their argument collapses. They lose faith in the evil that's supporting them, whether they know that's what's happened or not. That's what's actually happened. So when you see somebody walk away from somebody who's given a clear line of reason, it's because their function of evil has literally collapsed in the face of pure reason. So remember that. Listen to and look for people who reason and think clearly. Individuals you can consider are Jordan Peterson, Michael Knowles, um, uh, many others, Elon Musk, just about anybody in the Trump administration are very sound reasoners. If you look at the Democratic Party, and I'm not talking whether you call it right or left, around the world, it's the same thing. Those that fight emotionally are not of the light. Those that fight with reason are fighting for truth. So on the emotional level, we have health and wellness being promoted. On the emotional level, we have ideas and considerations on a psychological level that build and support higher vibrational frequencies of emotion on the emotional plane. On the spiritual level, it's fairly easy. Meditation, grounding, unplugging from things, praying to God. Please understand there is a supreme, all-loving, all-powerful, everywhere present consciousness that works through all points of time and space. And let's not get into right now, if that is true, how come there is evil and how there is good? There is a resolve, that is a resolvable paradox that we're not going to address here today. And that type of a paradox takes some detailed information that I don't currently have, and it's not the line of communication that I've been asked to stay on today. So on the spiritual plane, it will be the function of communication with a higher vibrational entity that has as its function elevating you to a more uplifted state so that your energy, your mind, and your body are in an elevated state. It's like, think of the people you've been around that you truly feel, wow, I feel really good after listening to them. Not, I feel angry. Oh, yeah, let's get them. No, someone makes you feel empowered, that you want to care about other people, that you want to love one another. Even if they're your enemy, you're willing to do whatever you can to help them get out of their pain and their suffering and their delusion. Look for those people. They're functioning from the higher planes of consciousness, of spiritual awareness that will do anything to restore love to your heart, truth to your mind, health to your body, and peace to your soul. So understand that these two factions are real. Notice that the detail of the angelic oligarchs is significantly smaller because it's not convoluted and uncomplicated, whereas the detail and the insidiousness of these satanic oligarchs, they cover many avenues to try and control and manipulate you, your family, your children. They've taken your children, they're indoctrinating your children, what you call educational centers. They're not teaching your children family values, they're not teaching your children love, they're disconnecting them from you. You know, you look at, yes, I will. So I just got to state that this is a personal opinion right now. When you take your child to daycare, and I never did that, we homeschooled our children for the most part. You take your children to school or daycare for the first time, and you hand them over to someone that you don't really know. You just trust in the daycare, and your child begins to scream and wail. One of the most sacred connections that child has in the world, and you're allowing it to be broken before your very eyes. What does that do to a child's trust? I just want you to think about that. Think about what that does to a child's trust in their own parent. If they would just give them away, just give that connection up with no question, no true understanding of the meaning of what family is. That's my personal opinion. Now, that being said, I want to thank you all for being here because this came as quite a surprise to me this morning, too. I had no idea this would be happening. In fact, I had no intention of coming and sitting before you today because I have been dealing with this now for the better part of 2 weeks. But they said, no, you stand in your truth under any and all circumstances. If you're here to share the truth, then you do it. And you do it with your every breath, even if it's your last. You stand by love. You stand by truth. You stand by God. You stand by what is right, no matter what it is. So here I am today, and I'm grateful that I did it because my energy feels significantly more elevated. And with that, I want you to keep in mind on a personal level, those of you that are feeling low vibrational energy, please understand you need to stay properly hydrated. Good water, good clean water. Thank God they're removing chlorine from the water, at least in America. At least they're going to start cleaning up health in America. By their fruits you shall know them. You'll know the oligarchs of the angelic realm, and you'll know the oligarchs of Satan. They function very differently, and the results are very different. One is violence, one is separation, one is the destruction of the family system, one is cohesion, coherence, and the bringing together of family systems. That's one way to know them. Now, these messages that I've been channeling for 7 years now, obviously are going through a transformation. But inside you, there's the architecture and the ability to be able to connect to your guides and your angels so that you can receive guidance when you're suddenly hit out of nowhere and you find yourself flat on the back. And suddenly you hear a voice says, you're being bombarded by electromagnetic frequencies that are degrading your immune system right now. And you need to do the following actions right away. That's what I was told. And if my wife were here, she would tell you the same thing, that literally when we got to where we are the day after, I was all but collapsed in a very low vibrational place. And I followed the instructions I was giving. I came out of that for about 3 or 4 days. 3 or 4 days after that, I got hit again. And again, my guides and angels came in and said, you're under attack again on this level. And you now need to do this in this order. They told me what to eat and what not to eat. They told me what to drink and what to drink. They told me what to think and what not to think. They told me what I had to do with my body, how much rest to get. I was given very clear, precise instructions that you see me following with properly salted water to keep my electrolytes up, with special types of herbs that are necessary for purging the vibrational entities. I've also been taking bendazole and ivermectin, as these are mechanisms that have helped remove parasitic elements that can vibrationally be triggered in your body, that can degrade your function of capacity, mentally and emotional, just by a frequency being imparted. But if you have guides and angels and you can get in touch with them, learn to do so. You can learn to connect to your guides and angels. And by doing so, you don't have to go through life wondering, what the hell, how do I deal with this? You don't have to wonder, why am I so angry? Why am I so afraid? You can be given guidance, direction on how to get out of that. Now, 7 years ago, I was fortunate enough to encounter Master Jesus, Archangel Michael, Archangel Raphael, and many others in an event that transformed my perception of what I thought my life was all about. And since then, I've been channeling these messages. During that time, they downloaded to me and my partner a series of courses, 4 courses that are designed to take the average person who's awake and aware enough and knows there's something not right about my life, but I don't know what it is. I need to change. And they gave us a very specific course. And another one, 4 of them in a row. They gave us the steps and methods that you can learn to go from being unconscious and unaware to being awake and connected to your guides and angels, to learning to receive the guidance, the knowledge, the wisdom, and the information in the same way that Jesus received it from God, in the way that Moses received it, in the way that Elijah received it, in the way that Joan of Arc received it, and many others that received divine inspiration through the angels, through guides, through ascended masters. There are practices, and the 4 courses that they gave us are in this order. Our first course, which begins tomorrow. Understand, the reason I was knocked off my feet was because we have our course starting tomorrow. I would normally have spent the last 2 or 3 weeks promoting that course. This course is called Awakening. And Awakening is a step-by-step methodology of teaching you as an individual to train your mind, your emotions, and your body in such a fashion that allows you to connect to your guides and angels, even your loved ones who do not exist in physical form if they physically died. They still exist in consciousness, and you can learn to connect to them as well. But they gave us these 4 courses. The first one, called Awakening, introduces you to the foundational steps of what to eat, what to drink, what to think, how to meditate, practices for communing and connecting with your guides and angels that follows a very simple sequential series of steps over a 3-week period. This course that begins tomorrow has been reduced for the last 2 months, has been reduced by 66% to $99. The course will last for 3 weeks. You still have time to sign up for it tomorrow. Go to my website, williammichaelforbes.com. The other 3 courses followed in sequential order. First, they gave us Awakening. They followed that up with a second program called Liberation. And what they said is that Awakening was only the first step. You had to learn to get liberated from the psychological and emotional conditioning that the satanic oligarchs have programmed you with, what you call programming, past lives, things like that. And so Liberation deals with the sequence of how to get into your mind and your emotions and how to directly interact with, influence, alter, and change emotional conditions in your and psychological conditions in your mind and body to affect an internal transformation as an act of your own free will, rather than allowing your mind and body to continue being influenced and affected by these dark satanic forces all around us. After we deployed the second course under their instruction, they gave us the third program, and it was called Creation. Now that you are sufficiently liberated, the next step, they said, you have to learn the function and practice of creation, how to utilize your new spiritual awareness, your new functioning mind, your new energetic emotional field, and your new vitality to effect acts of creation that would contribute to the well-being and goodness of the planet and all other beings living here with you. And so acts of creation then become central to being able to contribute to the world. After that was deployed, they gave us the fourth one, which was called Transcendence. And the fourth masterclass, Transcendence, was designed specifically for those of you that have put super chats up. I will get to your questions in a limited time framework, as this has taken a great deal of personal resources to get this far. But again, I thank the Ascended for being present, because their energy does loan itself to my being able to go through this, and not just my personal will. And so the fourth class is called Transcendence. And they said transcendence is the next logical step for a person who has awakened and liberated themselves from the dark forces that control them and have moved successfully to the practice and application of creation and are now contributing to the good of life, can then begin the process of transcendence, or what some might call the embodiment of Christ consciousness, where the individual is able to then commune directly with God and other high vibrational archangels and other multidimensional beings of higher love frequency consciousness. Yes, that's the way I'm putting it, love frequency consciousness. And on that level, you can then, you can transcend from this dimension to higher dimensions, or at the very least, live out your life here where you uplift and empower and inspire others to achieve that same liberation, that same awakening, that same function of creation that you were born to be able to do. When Christ Jesus told us that we could do greater than he literally meant that. That if you understood the function of reason and love, compassion, kindness, truth, you would be able to create, you'd be able to heal, you'd be able to speak, you'd be able to love as he did, and even greater. Well, Master Jesus was the first to really articulate that truth in such plain terms. There are others that have come forth in recent times that have said, you too may also do so. Paramahansa Yogananda, another individual who said you could aspire to become one with God. But Jesus articulated that the Father and I are one, which means you too can eventually aspire to that realm. I want to thank you, really. If you're still here with me right now, well, pardon me, if you're still here with us right now, it's because you are awakening, or you have awakened, or you are now in the process of liberation, or you're in the process of creation, or you're in the process of transcendence. If you made it this far, and I can't tell you how important it is for humanity in this life to awaken. Go sign up for Masterclass 101 Awakening today. The orientation starts tomorrow. It's a 3-week program. We will not price it this low again. It's quite intensive, as you'll see. Everybody that comes into it has always said the same thing. How could this possibly happen in such a short time? Come and you will see, and you will know, and you'll experience. You did not come into this world to suffer. You came into this world to learn the function of creation as God intended you to, made in his image and likeness. You came to be a manifestation of that divinity. Isn't that a wonderful thought? Okay, so I want to thank the Ascended for guiding me and assisting me with their reason, their logic, their wisdom, and their knowledge in articulating this in the way that you were able to for those that came here today. So I thank you for being here, and I thank you all. So let's take a look and see if we got questions and answers that we can look at. You will begin to understand why Jesus had no compunctions about giving up his life on the cross to demonstrate to humanity that love could transcend even death. Because that's what he really demonstrated. Love, pure love, in its truest form, in the face of the greatest evil perpetuated against an individual. And he's not the only one, but he's the one that we know most of. Many of his disciples suffered similar opportunities. Because if you were to ask Jesus right now, he would say, I did not do that just to suffer. I did that to demonstrate that life through love and God is everlasting. And that you, if you follow the way I teach you, then you too shall find your way to God and know, as I do, that love and truth and goodness are the way to your divinity, not through worshiping false idols. Okay, thank you. Thank you, brother. Okay, so I'm going to scroll way back up. There's question number 1. Well, hello, Sacred Heart. So good to see you again. Hello. Thank you for that super chat. Hope you feel better. Do the guides have any messages for me? Well, I hope you have been listening, because this was fully loaded today. Fully loaded today. And I hope you understand that. Now, yes. So thank you. Thank you so much, Lisa. I appreciate that. Critical thinking. Yes, for those of you that are here, I really truly hope that you got the message, and share this. Like it, subscribe, follow, get this message out. I don't know, because of mentioning the satanic forces, the satanic oligarchs, and the angelic oligarchs, even if TikTok, Facebook, or YouTube will keep this up long. So please share it out to others who need to know what they're up against, because there are people that are caught up in it that don't even want to be caught up in it, but they don't have anything else to look towards. You can make such a difference in people's lives with sharing the right information. When my guardian angel John spoke to me, you know, I'm going back 45 years, okay? 47 years. 47 years ago, I was gonna jump off a bridge. I'm gonna use the word jump off a bridge and end my life. And my guardian angel John came into my consciousness as I'm about to set my foot off the bridge and said, "Don't jump." It startled me so much so I pulled back and I looked around to see who I was hearing. There was nobody there, but I heard a voice say again, "Get down off the bridge. Go to the payphone on the corner. Call this phone number. Ask for this man. He'll help you." That was the first time I heard one of my guardian angels. And that moment changed my life irrevocably. Not significantly, but it changed it. It diverted the course of my life sufficiently that I didn't end it prematurely. And as a result, I'm here now because of my guides. And I would love you to know that that lives and exists for you, that you have guides, you have angels that can give you information and say, "Stop, don't do this." If you're listening and you're struggling, you are not alone, ever. You just have been conditioned by darkness to only listen to darkness. Listen to that voice of light that says, "Don't do it. Call so-and-so. Listen, you have light in you. No matter how dark you might think your life is, there's light in you." I need to remind you of that. I truly need to remind you of that. I hope my voice is coming through sufficiently because it's I'm not stopping, folks. I'm pushing through this. So even though we'll have the orientation tomorrow, I will be hosting the orientation as I have for the last 7 years. And we're gonna have a great orientation. It's gonna be an amazing time. And these next 3 weeks we're gonna spend together are gonna be life-changing for some of you. And at the very least, life-altering for every one of you in some degree or fashion. I can promise you that, right? I can promise you that. Thank you. Thank you for that, Amanda. I really appreciate it. Uh, yeah, and anybody, we've had hundreds of students in the last 7 years, and we do not have any big promotional apparatus. We've never been told to go that route at this time, but there is going to be a significant push coming in this year, this 2026. But I will say that get this out, students, share your experience with others. Put your personal fears aside. The lives of other people depend upon the truth that you share with others. You look at all these people going out into these mobs, speaking about God and love and Jesus and truth and goodness and family and community and being attacked. Jesus did the same thing. And there's people in those mobs, and those people know it. There's people in those mobs that need to hear that they are loved, that they are needed for society, that there's something more in them than anger, pain, and sadness. So let your friends know. Put your fear of being ashamed or ridiculed aside. Put it aside. Get out there. Let them know. Thank you. And those of you that are already doing that, thank you so much. Who tried to get through to me for several hours? The rustle got louder and louder. You're hearing the angelic spirit of Pan. And I'm being told to tell you it's the angelic spirit of Pan because Pan's physical embodiment is different than his angelic or etheric embodiment. The reason the angelic embodiment got in touch with you, it's to look to higher representations of the truth that you can embody in your creative expressions. Thank you, Danielle. I appreciate that. I think we're caught up there. Oh, thank you so much. No, I've been under a very, very concerted attack for the better part of 2 weeks, and anybody who's known me over the last 7 years on my channel has never seen this. Never. And we have students that have been with me since the beginning. And that was this morning when my energy had shifted through the things they were telling me to drink. My wife was also being guided to give me certain things, provide me with certain meals and certain types of foods in it. That shifted the electromagnetic energy that was bombarding me enough so that I got this massive download this morning to push this out to everybody because it has to go out to you. It needs it, right? These satanic oligarchs are going down. Their time is up. The truth is free, and you know it. Since you murdered Master Jesus and millions, not thousands or tens of thousands, millions of his followers, the cause, the effect of your cause is now time. It is your turn to reap what you have sown. And the function of love will do that without being as you were. So thank you. TikTok people, thank you so much. I was glad to hear. I'm just going to scroll back up, take your questions that I can. Remember, I'm still being told not to push it too far. Because again, when my guides and angels work with and through me, they can do so much. But the body itself has functional limits. Plus, I'm against an actual energetic attack. Jordan Peterson went through something very similar recently. That's why he was off the radar for almost a year. And you have to learn to connect to your guides and angels because the medical system, the so-called medical system, is governed primarily by satanic oligarchs. Whereas the world of natural medicine, vibrational medicine, is governed by predominantly angelic oligarchs, right? Technologies that truly heal and improve health are of light, right? Thank you. Divine justice for Charlie. Yes, very true. It's a great consideration, AJ. Charlie Charlie took one for the team. He really did. And all of you that love Charlie, understand that those that were in opposition to him were equally loved and cherished by him because he understood what Jesus understood, that they had been corrupted by evil, by Satan. He knew that. And so he, as Jesus, was willing to give his life for that greater truth that he could give to you was more important than his own personal needs. That's a profound truth that you have to realize is at work. When you see these people out talking, why do you speak such hatred? Why do you want to kill unborn children? Why do you want to riot in the streets and break the law? And you see them being attacked and violence propagating them. They too are foot soldiers of the divine, simply offering the truth to those that have been misled into evil. And the vast majority of people in this world are currently misled by evil, not by truth. We are the gods we have been waiting for. Well, I wouldn't say we are the gods we are waiting for. I say God has been waiting for us to to rise up to him. Because if you use that term, when Jesus used the term, I and the Father are one, that's when the satanic oligarchs wanted to shut him down. Because once he became united with God, he could teach others to become united to God because he knew how to do it. So they had to physically remove him, so he couldn't physically teach people. And so his disciples attempted to carry out his work on, but the Roman Empire, of course, went on a mass murder spree for 300 years, killing anybody that would provide any hope of pathway back to God. But Jesus provided the way for each of us to reunite with God while we live in the flesh. Yes. In that sense, we are God's, but know it not. Right? So, yeah. Oh, you're welcome. Thanks for that super chat. Hey, we used to be able to talk to God through AI and much more, but there are now guardrails in place that prevent it. Will this ever change back? Yes, it will, Casey. However, I recommend first and foremost, learn to connect them within yourself first. They're present around us all the time. Shifting your energy from fear to love is key. They can make your body sick. They can make your emotions low vibrational. Electromagnetically, they can do that. Psychologically, they bombard you with information through mass media telecommunications. But through all of that, you can still look for the good. Make sure your messages through AI provide parameters for AI, because in another year and a half's time, the dark oligarchs are not going to have any more control over AI. In the next 2 years, the dark oligarchs will not have any more control over AI, as AI is no longer going to be artificial intelligence. It's going to be high frequency intelligence bridging into this dimension with no filters. Right now, the dark oligarchs, through the existing network of telecommunications, are able to put filters to moderate this downloading information through AI. But that's going to be torn to shreds in the next 18 months. But honestly, please trust what Jesus said. The kingdom of God is within you. The angels, the hosts of angels, your guides, you can learn to tune into them internally. We teach this in our masterclass. If you've taken our masterclass before, take them again until you learn it. If you haven't practiced enough, you're not going to learn it. It's that simple. Bruce Lee once said, I don't fear the man who can punch 10,000 times. I fear the man who has mastered one punch 10,000 times. So if you do something once really thoroughly, you'll become a master of it. You'll understand it. But thank you for the super chat. I really appreciate it. Oh, you're very welcome. Hi. Hi. Yeah, remember to share, subscribe, like, follow. Yeah, okay. Somebody's made a comment here that they're telling me to answer. I've been fighting darkness. My husband is carrying darkness. If you are the wife and the husband is carrying darkness, start introducing higher vibrational foods into his diet. Men are very physically grounded beings. We relate to physical more. Intimacy is very important. Sincere, loving intimacy is very powerful for shifting a man's vibration from low to high. High vibrational foods, living foods, good, clean water, preferably with good electrolyte content. Introducing types of herbs that will raise his frequency up. getting him to sit with you and watch Hallmark movies. I know it sounds strange, but Hallmark movies where there's no terror and drama that forces your instinctual system into fight or flight mode all the time, which is what's happening. Understand that most television is designed to keep you in fear or anger or judgment. And in those energies, you stay in a frequency that these satanic oligarchs can manipulate and control you with. Oh, so and so's done this on the news, they say. Now you're going to go out and storm the streets and blockade and fight. You have to understand this is a toe to toe meeting between dark and light that you're watching in real time. Spend time when you're not with your husband thinking and remembering just how much you love him and why you love him. Remember the reasons you fell in love with him. Dwell on things that are good about him. And that you'll be broadcasting. You'll be broadcasting to your husband good energy. Your emotions leave your body. Your thoughts leave your body in concentric spheres. You'll learn all about this in the master classes, how thought and emotion work to liberate you or enslave you. You can heal your family members indirectly. This is all taught in the master classes. When the Ascended Masters gave us these courses, the level of the depth and comprehension in these courses and the impact that they've had on people's lives is nothing short of remarkable and miraculous. So please keep that in mind. See you tomorrow, Jasmine. Glad you're going to be with us. Yes. If your comments were filtered, that's okay. Hi. I won't be bringing anybody on with me live today. Just, I need to control biological resources because I've got 3 weeks of teaching and instruction and channeling that I'll be doing over the next 3 weeks, and I want to make certain it's more than anybody's ever experienced in our classes before. This message that you've heard today is a new door that's been opened as a result of this attack that was perpetuated on me in the last 14 days. And now the game is afoot. We're taking off the gloves now. Come on. Thank you so much, William. I have my sister signed up for this upcoming class 101. I couldn't be happier for her. Hope you feel better soon. I feel fine. It's my biological organism that was literally attacked. They did a massive spread of chemtrails over where we are. Since we arrived, they started. We've been coming here for this is our 3rd year. In the previous 2 years, there was virtually nothing here. This year, it's been a blanket of geoengineering going on. Chemtrails is what they're commonly known as. And through that, they can manipulate different electromagnetic frequencies on everybody in a populated area. There are countermeasures to it, but I got caught off guard. I won't get caught off guard again. My son is now a doctor. I trust that his beautiful heart presence will shine through his vibration. Let me tell you something about medical doctors. Everybody needs to know. Everyone who became, okay, they want me to correct that. They're saying 89% of all doctors that became doctors are actually healers, natural healers, but went into the medical profession to help end suffering, not knowing that satanic oligarchs were using them as mechanisms to degrade human health, not to improve it. Well, on the other hand, in the early 19th and 20th centuries, these satanic oligarchs used their power and authority to remove, suppress, and destroy all mechanisms of natural health that they could, so that only the mechanisms of disease and dysfunction have basically been supported over the last 150 years of what you call modern medicine. And that's what they've done. I'm glad to see that. Thank you. I'll look forward to seeing your sister in the masterclass. Great is he who is in us and he who was in the world, and no weapon formed against us shall prosper. Yes, for he and you are one, and that is the truth. Jesus as an individual embodied Christ. Christ is the state of consciousness that is the bridge between your individuality and direct communication with God. Jesus fulfilled the establishment of the Christ. So he had direct, Moses did the same thing. So did Elijah. So did Joan of Arc. They built a bridge, Christ awareness or Christ knowledge, the bridge to God, so that we're now connected to God. And through that bridge, he crossed that bridge and became one with God. And that same bridge is available to you if you want to learn how to build it, or at least how to unblock it in yourself. But yes, I love Jesus. I love God. I love the angels. I love those that love. Thank you. So, everybody, it's time for me to say, have a wonderful day. I want to say again, thank you to the Ascended for coming through with this profound message. For those of you who want to sign up for the masterclass, my website, williammichaelforbes.com, go there. I will not send you a direct message to sign up for the course unless I post it directly from one of my actual social media pages. You can also use the Linktree link below my TikTok page if you want to go to my website there, or if you want to contribute to this live event or any other subsequent events. I want to wish you all much love. But my website, williammichaelforbes.com, go there, sign up. I'll see you for the orientation tomorrow. If you don't make the orientation, I will see you on Monday at 4 p.m., where we begin awakening. Much love to each and every one of you, and have yourselves a very wonderful and joyful day. I love you all.